Stop! Put down that pretty plant. Before you load another impulse buy from the nursery into your cart, before you plant something near your children's play area, before you create a backyard nightmare that could send someone to the emergency room, you need to watch this. What if I told you that 7 common plants sold at every major nursery are ticking time bombs waiting to cause serious harm to your family, pets, or even destroy your entire landscape? What if I told you that nurseries keep selling these plants because most gardeners have no idea about the dangers lurking beneath those beautiful flowers and attractive foliage? I'm about to expose the truth about the most dangerous plants that big box stores and garden centers are still pushing on unsuspecting customers. And I'll give you better, safer alternatives that look just as beautiful without the deadly consequences. This isn't fear-mongering. This is information that could literally save lives, prevent thousands in property damage, and spare you years of regret. I learned some of these lessons the hard way, and I'm sharing everything so you don't have to. Hey plant lovers, welcome back to Daily Garden Fix. I'm your host, and today we're diving into the dark side of the nursery industry, the plants they're happy to sell you but hope you never research. This is going to be controversial, but somebody needs to tell the truth. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which plants to avoid, why they're so dangerous, and what to plant instead for the same aesthetic without the nightmare scenarios. Hit that subscribe button if you care about garden safety and creating beautiful landscapes that don't come with hidden risks. Ring that notification bell because I'm dropping eye-opening garden truth bombs every single week. Let's jump right in with danger number 1 that makes my blood run cold. Danger number 1, English ivy, the silent home destroyer. Starting with the plant that seems so innocent but causes billions in property damage every single year, English ivy. This climbing nightmare is sold at every garden center with pretty pictures of charming cottage walls. But here's what they don't tell you. English ivy destroys buildings, suffocates trees, and takes over entire landscapes with terrifying efficiency. Those cute little aerial rootlets aren't just climbing, they're drilling into mortar, siding, and tree bark, causing structural damage that costs tens of thousands to repair. Here's the nightmare scenario I've seen repeatedly. Homeowners plant ivy as charming ground cover, and within 3 to 5 years, it's climbing their home's exterior, working into every crack and crevice. When they finally try to remove it, the ivy has bonded so strongly that removal tears off siding, damages brick, and destroys paint. The ecological damage is even worse. English ivy smothers native plants, creates wall-to-wall monocultures that support zero wildlife, and harbors pest populations that then attack your other plants. It's classified as invasive in 12 states, yet nurseries keep selling it. Here's what really makes me angry. The ivy doesn't just climb buildings, it creates moisture-trapping conditions that promote rot, mold, and insect infestations. I've seen homes develop serious structural problems from ivy that seemed decorative for years before the damage became visible. The safer alternative. Want that lush, evergreen climbing look without the destruction? Plant Carolina jessamine or crossvine. These native vines provide beautiful coverage, support wildlife, and can be easily managed without threatening your home's structural integrity. They're stunning, they're safe, and they actually help your local ecosystem. For ground cover, use native Allegheny spurge or green and gold. These spreaders stay manageable, support beneficial insects, and create the same lush carpet effect without the invasive nightmare. Danger number 2, Bradford pear, the tree that explodes. Danger number 2 is the tree that literally explodes and has been banned in multiple states, yet I still see nurseries selling it with a smile. The infamous Bradford pear. This is possibly the worst tree ever introduced to American landscaping. Here's the terrifying reality. Bradford pears have weak branch unions that fail catastrophically in wind, ice, or heavy rain. I'm not talking about broken branches, I'm talking about entire trees splitting apart down the middle, destroying cars, homes, and power lines. The timeline is predictable and devastating. Bradford pears look beautiful for 15 to 20 years with those gorgeous spring blooms and fall colors. Then one day, usually during a storm, the entire tree splits apart with explosive force. The destruction happens in seconds, and the tree is completely destroyed. Here's the industry secret they won't tell you. Bradford pears know Bradford pears are destructive, short-lived disasters, but they keep selling them because they grow fast, look good in containers, and customers love the spring flowers. It's profit over principle, and homeowners pay the price. The ecological problems are equally serious. Bradford pears are highly invasive, producing millions of seeds that spread into forests and natural areas. They cross-pollinate with other ornamental pears to create thorny, aggressive hybrids that form impenetrable thickets. It's banned in multiple states, yet neighboring states continue allowing sales, perpetuating the spread. Beyond ticks, the pears alter soil chemistry, outcompete native plants, and create dense monocultures that provide zero value to native wildlife. It's an ecological disaster wrapped in a pretty purple-leafed package. The safer alternative. Want that stunning spring flower show and beautiful fall color? Plant a serviceberry tree. These native beauties produce gorgeous white spring blooms that smell wonderful, have spectacular fall color, produce edible berries that wildlife loves, and have strong wood that won't explode in storms. For similar shape and size, consider Zelkova or American hornbeam. Both are incredibly strong, beautiful, and actually improve in value as they mature, rather than becoming hazardous time bombs. Danger number 3, Japanese barberry, the tick factory. Danger number 3 is the shrub creating a public health crisis that nurseries are still pushing: Japanese barberry. Research has proven this plant creates perfect habitat for disease-carrying ticks, yet it's sold as deer-resistant foundation planting. Here's the shocking science. Studies show that areas with Japanese barberry have 12 times more black-legged ticks than areas without it. These aren't just annoying ticks, they're the primary vector for Lyme disease, which infects over 300,000 Americans annually. The mechanism is insidious. Barberry creates dense, humid microclimates near the ground where ticks thrive. The thorny branches protect tick populations from predators, while the dense foliage maintains perfect humidity levels for tick reproduction. You're literally installing a tick breeding facility around your home. Here's what makes me furious. The landscaping industry has known about the barberry tick connection for over a decade, yet nurseries continue mass producing and heavily promoting this plant. The deer-resistant selling point becomes meaningless when your family contracts Lyme disease. The invasive spread compounds the problem. Japanese barberry escapes landscapes and invades forests, creating tick habitat throughout entire regions. It's banned in multiple states, yet neighboring states continue allowing sales, perpetuating the spread. Beyond ticks, the barberry alters soil chemistry, outcompetes native plants, and creates dense monocultures that provide zero value to native wildlife. It's an ecological disaster wrapped in a pretty purple-leafed package. The safer alternative. Want that compact, colorful foliage for foundation plantings? Use 9-bark cultivars like Summer Wine or Coppertina. These native shrubs provide gorgeous purple and copper foliage, support beneficial insects, don't harbor ticks, and are truly deer-resistant without the health risks. For that fine-textured look, try dwarf Fothergilla. Stunning fall color, fragrant spring blooms, native wildlife support, and absolutely zero disease vector promotion. Danger number 4, trumpet vine, the foundation cracker. Danger number 4 is the plant sold as hummingbird magnet, but should be labeled foundation destroyer. Trumpet vine. This aggressive monster causes serious structural damage while being nearly impossible to eradicate once established. Here's the nightmare. Trumpet vine doesn't just climb, it sends underground runners that pop up everywhere, often 20 to 30 feet away from the original plant. These runners burrow under foundations, sidewalks, and driveways, exerting enough pressure to crack concrete. The aerial roots that help it climb are incredibly destructive, working into siding, mortar, and roofing materials. I've seen trumpet vines literally pull gutters off houses and work their way under roof shingles, causing thousands in damage. But here's the worst part. Trying to remove trumpet vine once it's established is a multi-year nightmare. The plant regenerates from tiny root fragments, meaning every piece left in the ground spawns new plants. Homeowners spend years battling regrowth. The aggressive spreading doesn't stop at property boundaries. Trumpet vine invades neighbors' yards, natural areas, and can't be contained by any normal garden barrier. It's classified as invasive in several regions, yet nurseries market it as beneficial hummingbird habitat. Here's the dirty secret. Yes, hummingbirds love trumpet vine flowers, but there are dozens of native plants that attract hummingbirds without threatening your home's foundation or becoming impossible to control. The safer alternative, want to attract hummingbirds without inviting disaster? Plant native coral honeyluscle. This well-behaved vine produces tubular flowers hummingbirds love, stays manageable, won't damage structures, and can actually be controlled with normal pruning. For similar trumpet-shaped blooms, try native cross vine or Carolina jessamine. Both provide spectacular blooms, support native wildlife, and behave themselves in the landscape. Danger number 5. Mint and bamboo, the yard hijackers. Danger number 5 is actually 2 plants sold as easy herbs and exotic accents that will hijack your entire property, all mint varieties and running bamboo. These plants spread so aggressively they can devalue your property. Let's start with mint. Sold innocently at every garden center in the herb section, this plant spreads through underground runners at shocking speed. Plant mint in your garden bed, and within 1 season, it's colonized the entire area, choking out everything else. Here's what they don't advertise. Mint sends runners under sidewalks, into lawns, through mulch, and into neighboring properties. I've seen mint spread 15 feet in a single growing season, and once established, it's incredibly difficult to eradicate because every root fragment can regenerate. The lawn invasion is particularly frustrating. Mint runners infiltrate grass, creating patchy, uneven lawns that smell like toothpaste when mowed. Removing it requires killing and reestablishing entire lawn sections. Now bamboo, the nightmare that gets even worse. Running bamboo species spread through rhizomes that can travel 20 to 30 feet underground, popping up through concrete, invading neighbors' yards, and creating legal nightmares. Here's the horror story I see repeatedly. Homeowners plant bamboo for privacy screening, and within 5 years they're receiving lawyers' letters from neighbors whose properties have been invaded. Bamboo removal costs thousands and often requires professional contractors with specialized equipment. The property devaluation is real. Homes with established running bamboo problems sell for significantly less because buyers understand the eradication costs and ongoing management requirements. Real estate agents have told me bamboo infestations are serious red flags. The safer alternative. For mint, always grow in containers that are completely isolated from ground soil. Use heavy pots on concrete or decking, never in-ground planters where runners can escape. For bamboo screening, use clumping bamboo varieties like bambusa or fargiza. These form tight clumps without aggressive spreading. Even better, use native evergreen shrubs like American holly or eastern red cedar for privacy that actually supports wildlife. Danger number 6, the pretty poison, lily of the valley. Danger number 6 is sold as charming ground cover with sweet-smelling flowers, but contains deadly toxins, lily of the valley. This plant is seriously toxic to humans and animals, yet nurseries sell it without adequate warnings. Here's the terrifying truth. Every part of lily of the valley contains cardiac glycosides that can cause heart failure. Just eating a few leaves or flowers can send children and pets to the emergency room with potentially fatal consequences. The innocent appearance makes it particularly dangerous. Those cute bell-shaped flowers and attractive foliage look harmless. Children are naturally attracted to the flowers and berries, and pets chew the leaves, often with devastating results. Here's what really makes this plant dangerous. Even the water from flower arrangements containing lily of the valley can be toxic. I've heard of pets becoming seriously ill from drinking out of vases containing these flowers. The symptoms of poisoning are severe: vomiting, diarrhea, irregular heartbeat, confusion, and potential heart failure. There's no home remedy. Poisoning requires immediate emergency veterinary or medical care, often including hospitalization. Beyond the toxicity, lily of the valley spreads aggressively through rhizomes and can be difficult to eradicate once established. It forms dense mats that exclude other plants and become persistent landscape problems. The safer alternative: want that same carpet of white spring flowers? Plant native wild ginger or native woodland phlox. Both create beautiful ground cover with stunning blooms, support beneficial insects, and are completely safe around children and pets. For shade tolerance and spreading habit, try Allegheny spurge or green and gold, gorgeous native alternatives that provide similar coverage without the lethal toxins. Danger number 7, the structure strangler. The gorgeous flowering mind that nurseries love to sell for its stunning blooms, but rarely mention its destructive power: wisteria. This plant can literally collapse structures and requires constant aggressive management. Here's the shocking reality: wisteria vines grow as thick as tree trunks and exert incredible strangling pressure on anything they climb. I've seen wisteria crush PVC pipes, bend steel supports, collapse pergolas, and pull down gutters and downspouts. The growth rate is aggressive and relentless. Wisteria can grow 10+ feet in a single growing season, and mature vines become so heavy they overload any normal garden structure. That charming arbor you built will be crushed within 5 to 10 years. Here's the nightmare scenario: wisteria grows into roof eaves, under shingles, around chimneys, and into vents. It pries open gaps in siding and works into any structural weak point, causing thousands in damage while being incredibly difficult to remove. The strangling habit affects trees as well. Wisteria vines can girdle and kill mature trees by constricting their trunks and smothering their canopies. I've seen beautiful trees completely destroyed by wisteria that started as pretty accent planting. But here's another problem they don't mention: wisteria can take 10 to 15 years to bloom. Nurseries sell grafted plants that bloom younger, but even these require constant, brutal pruning to control growth and promote flowering. It's a massive ongoing maintenance commitment. The invasive spread creates ecological problems. Wisteria escapes cultivation and invades natural areas, smothering native vegetation and creating dense tangles that exclude wildlife habitat. The safer alternative: want those stunning hanging flower clusters? Plant native American wisteria. This species is better behaved, blooms reliably, supports native insects, and, while it still needs management, it won't destroy structures with the same aggressive force. For similar spectacular bloom effect, try climbing roses or clematis. Both provide gorgeous flowers, can be managed with normal pruning, and won't threaten your home's structural integrity. Quick bonus danger that deserves mention: burning bush. This plant is heavily promoted for fall color, but creates ecological dead zones while spreading aggressively into natural areas. The brilliant red fall color comes at a serious price. Burning bush supports virtually zero native wildlife. No beneficial insects feed on it, no birds eat the seeds, no native animals use it for shelter. It's an ecological wasteland taking up valuable garden space. Here's the invasion problem: burning bush produces thousands of seeds that spread into forests and natural areas, creating dense thickets that exclude native plants. It's invasive in 21 states, yet many nurseries continue selling it prominently. The alternative is obvious and better: plant native oak leaf hydrangea, Virginia sweet spire, or native sumacs. All provide equally spectacular fall color while supporting dozens of beneficial insect species and birds. Let's talk about the warning signs that should make you think twice before buying any plant at a nursery. These red flags apply to plants beyond just our dangerous 7. Watch out for these descriptions: vigorous grower, spreads quickly, deer-resistant through chemical compounds, low maintenance once established. These are often code words for invasive, toxic, or destructive plants. Here's the insider secret:
If a plant is heavily discounted or promoted, ask yourself why. Often it's because the plant grows fast and looks good quickly, but nurseries know it causes problems long term. They're moving problematic inventory. Research before purchasing. If a plant is banned in any state or listed as invasive anywhere, think very carefully about whether you want it in your landscape. Invasive designation exists for serious reasons. Check mature size honestly. Nurseries display plants at juvenile sizes, and customers drastically underestimate mature dimensions. That compact shrub might be 15 feet tall at maturity. Let's have an honest conversation about why nurseries keep selling these problematic plants. Understanding the business side helps you shop smarter. The profit motive is powerful. Fast-growing, easy-to-propagate plants have high profit margins. A Bradford pear tree costs the nursery a few dollars to grow, but sells for $50 to $100. That's too profitable to stop selling, even knowing the problems. Here's the industry reality. Most nursery staff are not trained horticulturists. They're retail workers who repeat information from tags and can't provide detailed guidance about long-term plant behavior or regional concerns. The customer demand cycle perpetuates problems. People see attractive plants at neighbors' houses and request them at nurseries. Stores stock what sells, creating a feedback loop that keeps problematic plants in circulation. Legal protections shield nurseries from liability. Plants sold with accurate tags that disclose mature size and basic care can't typically generate successful lawsuits, even when they cause significant damage or harm. Here's what you need to understand. Nurseries are retail businesses, not botanical gardens or environmental organizations. Their primary goal is selling plants, not necessarily selling the right plants for your situation. Now let's talk about strategies for shopping at nurseries without falling into these traps. These techniques will revolutionize your plant buying experience. Always research before shopping. Never impulse buy plants. Use your phone to search plant name, invasive, plant name, problems, and plant name, alternatives right there in the nursery aisle. Here's the power question that stumps unprepared staff. What native alternatives provide similar appearance without invasive tendencies or high maintenance? This immediately reveals whether staff actually knows their plants or is just reading tags. Request documentation if staff makes claims about plant behavior. If they say a plant stays compact or isn't invasive here, ask for written materials supporting those claims. This protects you and makes staff think twice about questionable recommendations. Check your state's invasive species list before shopping. Many states maintain online databases of prohibited and invasive plants. Never buy anything on these lists, regardless of what nurseries stock. Prioritize native plant nurseries when possible. Native plant growers have deeper knowledge, stronger environmental ethics, and stock appropriate plants for your region that support local ecosystems. Let's establish some core principles for safer, smarter plant shopping that will serve you for life. These guidelines prevent problems before they start. The native first principle. Always check if native alternatives exist before buying any non-native plant. Natives support local wildlife, adapt better to regional conditions, and rarely become invasive problems. Here's the proven track record test. If a plant has been widely grown in your region for 50+ years without major problems, it's probably safe. If it's newly introduced or recently popular, research carefully before buying. The mature size reality check. Whatever the tag says, add 20 to 30% for actual mature size and ideal conditions. Plants almost always grow larger than nursery tags suggest, causing placement problems and maintenance headaches. Apply the removal test. Before planting anything, ask, if I wanted to remove this plant 5 years from now, how difficult would it be? If the answer is extremely difficult, reconsider whether you want it. Here's the wildlife support principle. Choose plants that provide food and habitat for native insects, birds, and other wildlife. Gardens should support ecosystem health, not create sterile ornamental deserts. There you have it, the 7 most dangerous plants nurseries keep selling, plus the safer alternatives that give you beauty without the nightmares. From property damage to health risks to ecological disasters, you now know what to avoid and what to choose instead. The best part? Native alternatives almost always perform better than the dangerous plants they replace. More wildlife support, better adaptation to local conditions, lower maintenance, and zero guilt about environmental damage. I want to hear your experiences. Have you dealt with any of these nightmare plants? Share your horror stories in the comments below and let me know which safer alternatives you're excited to try. I read every comment and love learning from your experiences. If this video saved you from a costly mistake or helped you create a safer garden, please give it a thumbs up and share it with fellow gardeners. Your support helps me continue exposing industry practices and promoting better gardening for everyone. Remember, beautiful gardens should enhance your life, not threaten your family's safety, your home structure, or the environment. With the right plant choices, you can have gorgeous landscapes that support nature and make your property more valuable, not less. Your safer, smarter garden starts with refusing to buy these dangerous 7. Make the right choices, and I'll see you next week for more truth about what really works in your garden. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and comment below with your dangerous plant stories. Let's warn others before they make the same mistakes.